Chapter 5 Finesse. Now that you've worked on improving your range of motion and getting some flexibility in your feet, now it is easier to work on some more intricate, helpful techniques. Our muscles and joints work best when we can flex and stretch them to their full capacity. This is also very important with the feet. As a society, we bind our feet in shoes that are either too tight or have too thick of a sole. Walking correctly really requires being able to feel the ground and squeeze the earth below us. Our hands and feet have the same muscles. We should be as strong in our feet as our hands. Here's some finessing points to add to the 4 steps. Number 1. Feel your foot spread out, open as wide as possible before you hit step 1. 2. When you move towards step point 2 and 3, begin to flex your foot and really grip the ground. You really want to feel it, like grabbing a ball. 3. When moving through step point 3 and 4, your foot will begin stretching to its full range of motion. Let it relax and let it open up. 4. Follow through. Like in every sport, follow through is important. In baseball, golf, after you've done a swing, after the ball is gone, there's still some technique of follow through. When your foot has left the ground, keep pointing the toe inward and point it and feel the full length stride. So in the stride, you've gone from outside foot, and when your leg is behind you, you're going towards more the inside. When you're push off of 3 and 4, you're just pushing off the toe, you're still turning your foot in just a little bit. So that's part of the follow through. Now notice as you're walking, your weight is going from side to side. When your leg is behind you, it swings forward. In this moment, there's very little muscle effort. This is a point of totally relaxing your leg as it's swinging forward. Your body is doing this whip motion, whipping from one leg to the other. You should not be forcing your leg forward. As your weight is on one side, with the leg that is swinging forward, let it swing freely. Notice all the muscles that are tight around you. When it comes to relaxing moments, this is when you need to let them go. Now I've given you a lot to think about so far. And as you can see, there's a lot of points to hit specifically, and they come up really fast, which is why I've broken it down into so many points. But as you're doing this and thinking a lot, sometimes we forget to breathe. So do a few steps and notice how you need to breathe and let them go. And sometimes a lot of the points in your shoulders, maybe in your hips and your legs, that are still tight. And when you can breathe through them and relax, especially muscles that you aren't supposed to be using. Now breathe and take in full breaths as you go from stride to stride. A good stretch technique is working your toes. Most yoga instructors say old age starts in your toes. When your toes are tight, then your ankles will be tight, your knees will be tight, just like foundation. So it's good to do some toe opening exercises. So in yoga, there's the warrior stretch where you're doing a stride. And just do a little extra circles with your toes. With a little flex, get them to open, tuck them in, go the other way. It's also a very good stretch for the toes and the front of the foot. Just get them moving, because you need them to open up your foot and close them. So as we're moving through, flexing, stretching, the people who think this is hard is because their body is tight. Their overall body is tight. So it's important to take moments, just like we breathe in and out, that we're flexing and relaxing as we go. Some people are just thinking and flexing the whole time. You have to flex and relax. Breathe in, breathe out. This also happens in the stride. Flexing your foot, letting it go. Move in your hips. It's also important that you want your hips to move. They're supposed to move. They move in like a figure eight motion or a infinity motion, where they're swinging forward, they're going up, they're going down, they're going back. So it's important to move these. If you are taking small steps and you're not flexing the foot fully up and fully down, your hips may not be moving at all. And this may lead to sciatica and part of low back pain and hip socket pain, because your hips are supposed to move. So if you track your left leg, when your left leg is about to hit the heel left of your hip, it's going to be rotating forward. Your right hip is going to be rotating backwards. If you follow the left leg, when you start to take a step, you're gripping the ground, and your left hip is going to be tilting down, and your right hip is going to be tilting up. And when your left leg starts moving backwards, and you're about to push off the toe, the left side of your hip is moving back. Then when you are recovering your left leg, and it's moving forward, your left hip is going to move up, your right hip is going to move down, and that's how your leg is going to move forward. So your hips are following your leg. So with people with stiff legs, stiff hips, stiff arms, a stiff back, your hips are in the center of it all. So you want to get those moving. Over accentuate them. Do some twists, some figure eights with your hips. You got to get those to move, because your spine sits on your hips. If your hips are moving, it means your ankles are moving, and your spine is going to move. Next is swinging your arms. Your arms are counterbalancing your body. They're helping you swing your leg to the next step. If you take a step forward with your left leg, your right arm is going to go back. When you take a step with your right leg, your left arm goes back. So your arms are reacting to how fluid your hips are. So if your arms are not moving, it is possible you have stiff ankles and stiff hips, and your arms aren't swinging with you. So you want to make sure they're swinging evenly. Some people with a shoulder injury, their arm might be stiff and it's not moving because it's protecting the injury. So it's possible to protect that injury, you may not be moving your hip as well. And so your whole left side of your body might be stiff to protect a shoulder injury. Or vice versa, you may have an ankle injury and your whole leg is stiffened up, and therefore your left arm is not swinging with you as well. So these are things to notice as you're walking along. You want to be moving your hips and your arms and your breath are all moving together in a perfect symmetry. And if something is missing, it's possible you have a tightness somewhere, an old injury that you haven't taken care of yet. And it's important as you're moving through this, even if the injury was a long time ago, to slowly breathe and move through that injury and let it go and relax.